Yeah, so we're talking of applying confidentiality, that members should maintain confidentiality even in social environments. The members should be alert to the possibility of inadvertent disclosure, that members should maintain confidentiality of information disclosed by a prospective client or employer. So even if that client is a prospective one, even if it's a prospect, you don't have any right to disclose their information. So members should consider the need to maintain confidentiality of information within the firm or employing organization. So members in public practice should take all reasonable steps to ensure that staff under their control and persons from whom advice and assistance is obtained respect the members' duty of confidentiality. So that is what we need to consider. So let's move to exceptions to the duty of confidentiality. What are the exceptions? Circumstances that confidentiality might not apply. So what are those circumstances? The following are circumstances where members are or may be required to disclose confidential information, or when such disclosure may be appropriate. 1, disclosure is permitted by law and or is authorized by the client or the employer. So if the law authorizes it, or authorized by the client or authorized by the employer, you can disclose it. 2, disclosure is required by law. For example, production of documents or other provision of evidence in the course of legal proceeding. Tendering of documents in court is allowed. Then disclosure to the appropriate public authorities of infringements of law that come to light. So if FCC require information of that client, so you have to disclose it. 3, if there is a professional duty or right to disclose, if you have a professional duty or right to disclose, you should do that when not prohibited by law, that is to comply with the quality review of a member body or professional body. So if I can require a quality review from you, so that is only when ICAN can come across such client information. Another thing is to respond to an inquiry or investigation by a member body or regulatory body. If ICAN want to respond to an investigation concerning the client, so that is when you can disclose, or to protect the professional interest of a member in legal proceedings. So if your interest as a chartered accountant or as an accounting firm, interest has to be protected, those are circumstances where confidentiality of information could be disclosed. Please take notes of all this. Examiner can ask you still on them. So to comply with technical standard and ethics requirements, so you can disclose information in order to comply with ethical standard and ethics requirements. So in deciding whether to disclose confidential information, members should consider the following points: whether the interest of all parties, including third parties whose interests may be affected, could be harmed if the client or employer consents to the disclosure of information by members in public practice. So if the client or employer consents to disclosure with so could they be harmed if, could your client be harmed if he consents to you disclosing his or her own confidential information? So whether all the relevant information is known and substantiated. So before you disclose, you have to know the detail, the root of the information, and it has to be substantiated to the extent that it is practicable when the situation involves unsubstantiated fact, incomplete information, or unsubstantiated conclusions. Professional judgment should be used in determining the type of disclosure to be made, if any. So if it's not factual, you should use professional judgment. You know the language to use in a professional judgment. So the type of communication that is expected and to whom it is addressed in particular, members should be satisfied that the parties to whom the communication is addressed are appropriate recipients. So when you are disclosing, you have to forward it to the right channel. You are not to make public. There are some that you make public. There are some that you forward it to the recipient authority or the person that asks you to send to him or her or to the organization involved. So we have to take note of that. So this is what we can take in this topic, professional ethics. So by next week, we will look into other topics. We have two lecturers that is handling this course. So we'll be taking one after the other. By next class, my colleague will be taking auditor's liability. By next week, he will be taking auditor's liability on Saturday. Then I will be taking audit planning and documentation. Audit planning and documentation on Sunday next week by the grace of God. So get prepared for these two classes, auditor's liability and audit planning and documentation. So let's go and take some quizzes and test our knowledge and see how we are faring. So you can read the quiz and crack your head to know if you can answer those questions correctly. So question one, we say, which of the following is not an objective of auditing standard and guidelines? A, to minimize engagement risk, to ensure quality control of an audit. C, to enhance the initiative of the auditor. D, to ensure uniformity in carrying out the audit assignment. E, to increase auditors' image in the eyes of the users of the financial statements. So number one, so which of the following is not an objective of auditing standard and guideline? C is the answer, to enhance the initiative of the auditor. So we now say, quiz 2, which of the sanctions listed below is not imposed by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria for misconduct of its members? A, reprimand. B, payment of costs. C, closure of practicing office of the members. D, suspension from membership. E, removal of name from membership register. So what is the answer? The answer is C, closure of practicing office of the members. Which of the following sanctions listed below is not imposed by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria for misconduct of its members? So it's closure of practicing office of members. So take note of that. So we move to quiz 3 that says where a standard or guideline issued by ICAN in Nigeria conflict with the IFAC standard or guideline, which one prevails? So which one prevails? So you should know by now that ICAN standard prevails where a standard or guideline issued by ICAN conflict with IFAC. So ICAN standard prevails. Please take note of that. Quiz 4. A member may disclose confidential information to third parties in certain circumstances. Yes or no? Of course, the answer is yes. So thank you so much for your attention and get prepared for next class. Goodbye.